What is up, y'all? Manny, Carrera, your real estate resource, and I'm your host of Whiskey Wednesday podcast sessions, where we sit with entrepreneurs, influencers, movers, and shakers. Today, we're going to be kicking off episode number 26 with my special guest, certified meteorologist and El Paso's favorite weatherman, Mr. Chuck Debroder. Chuck,
hey, thank you.
How are you?
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you for being on the show. It's definitely an honor to have you on. You have a big influence here in El Paso. I know a lot of people are super excited to hear what you've been up to. You're one of the most interesting men alive right now in El Paso.
Man, I've been hiding out in disguises all over town. No, I've actually, enjoying time off, relaxing, but not really, because now I'm working for myself. So I'm getting up at 7 in the morning or before, and I'm putting out weather forecasts just like before on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
You're working
and I'm working it. And I love what I do. I love weather. I love the power of the mind, psychology. I'm doing a little bit of both.
That's awesome.
I'm a hypnotherapist for 14 years. So I'm enjoying things, but one thing that I answer a lot of people, and I'll answer you if you don't know, I'm staying here in the borderland because I love El Paso, Juarez, Las Cruces, southern New Mexico. I love the whole area.
That's awesome.
I love the people here too. So.
That's awesome. I know El Paso, I'm speaking for El Paso right now. We are excited to have you here and excited to see what you got going on. I know social media right now, you're definitely working it, and that's really how you caught our eye too. We got excited when we saw you on social media. So you're a man of a lot of traits. You know, you got some belts behind you. So tell us a little bit more about yourself. Who is Chuck Debroder? And what does he do here in El Paso?
Developed by my to the point, blunt speaking grandma who I grew up with and spent a lot of time. She's German, and Germans think they help you by just being blunt. Like, hey, you've gained like 10 pounds. You need to lose weight, but they're helping you. And my mom, who has a loud voice like me. My dad, who has a dry English sense of humor. His parents are from the Isle of Guernsey, a beautiful English Channel island, and his parents are French and Dutch.
Wow.
My mom is, her mom's from Germany, and she married a southern ass-kicking Irishman, and so there you go.
Whiskey too.
Yeah. There you go, right there.
Yeah.
Tullamore Dew. And what are we featuring today?
So we actually just skipped over that. I'm so sorry. But this is actually one of my favorites, and I'm pretty sure Fernando knows this. This is Basil Hayden's Dark Rye. So really smooth.
It's aged.
Very oaky. So if it's whiskey, it has to be aged minimum 4 years for it to be considered whiskey. So when it comes down to this blend, they actually mix a couple barrels that are different ages into the mix, so it's hard to say the exact age. It's kind of a mix of a little bit of everything.
In Ireland, they have to hide the aging area because it doesn't last 4 years.
Really?
People find it and they want to drink it.
they're licking out the barrel.
What happened to the barrel? It's empty.
So talk to us a little about your passion. How did you kind of get into news broadcasting, and when did you first know that was kind of the direction you wanted to go?
And you have my bio there.
Yeah,
but a kindergarten teacher discovered my talent for talking. I talked too much in class, so I was interrupting the class, of course, and she took me out of the class, put me in an empty classroom, and with a little Fisher Price like karaoke microphone said, "Chuck, pretend you're on the radio." And I thought, this is super cool. So she came back over an hour later. I was still talking, and she knew I was destined for a career. But
an hour later,
I would record on a cassette tape recorder. I just always loved listening to the radio. My dad listened to AM radio, AM talk.
Yes,
grew up in Denver, which is a big sports town. So I knew sports. By the time I was 5, I knew most of the Denver Bronco football players.
Really?
I would go and get autographs and tell them their stats.
So you were born into that team.
Yeah, and my parents would dress me in full Denver Bronco gear, like with shoulder pads, everything, from the age of like 3 or 5 all the way to 12. And then the neighborhood kids would be like, "Mrs. Debroder, he can play full contact football because he's in pads. And they
he's ready to go.
Yeah, that accounts for half my brain damage, I think, now. But so I grew up around AM, FM radio, and then I also grew up around a mom who loved weather, who watched every weathercaster on TV in Denver all the time, and it stuck in the back of my head. I'd be watching the news and we'd go one weather and she knew when the other weather started, and then she'd switch back and forth.
On point.
And then, you know, she was like, oh, he's full of BS. And we wouldn't watch that person, we'd watch the other weather person. And so that's where I got the passion. I got to thank my mom for weather. Now, meteorology, which I have my second degree in,
right,
is much more difficult than my first degree, which was in broadcasting and public relations. I did radio, got paid minimum wage, and you know.
Was this for the school?
I did it for school first. Freshman, I was the first one to win a Silver Mike Broadcasting Award as a freshman.
That's awesome.
I was the news director of the college radio station when I was a freshman. Then I figured out when I was working weekends, getting minimum wage on a professional station, AM, like I'm not going to make a living off of radio. So I said, I'll go into PR, double emphasized. I did corporate PR for Adolf Coors Company, and I was stuck in a cubicle, and I'd come from radio where I was talking, and you know, people were on their 8th cup of coffee, rolling in at 10 o'clock in the morning, and stressed, and it was an all-woman department, and I was the only guy, so they thought I was going to take their job. I was like, I'm an intern, paid intern. I'm not going to take your job. And so, but I learned a lot. Learned corporate PR. Saw when there was actually a mouse jammed into a Coors beer can, and they did a scientific analysis, and the fur off of both the sides of the mouse was off. They said the mouse was actually canned from the dirty brewery.
Oh, inside the can?
But they had jammed it in to try and get some money from Coors.
There's a lot of those.
Yeah, oh yeah, you know, a lot of hustlers out there.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then I had the best job in the world in college. Before I got the PR job, every summer I worked as a tour guide of the world's largest brewery, Adolf Coors Company.
Wow.
I went to beer school every summer. I learned all about Hallental hops.
That's pretty cool.
I learned about the barley, caramelization, roasting the barley. Know all about beer. Now, Pacific Northwest and Colorado, the two states that started the craft beer craze years ago. We're talking 30 plus years ago.
Wow.
And the German influences, some of the German people that settled in Colorado and
they just had to have their beer.
Oh, they had to have their strong beer. And so a good beer, you don't need to eat. There's enough calories for a meal, and but it all depends on the flavor, on how they roast the barley, what type of hops. But the number one thing is the water, and the best water in the country comes from the source, Colorado, and then Pacific Northwest. But Colorado's better.
That's interesting that you say a good beer has enough calories as a meal, because I read that Arnold Schwarzenegger after workouts would drink a pitcher
of beer. Yeah,
I think that's how it sounds really crazy, but I guess calorie wise.
Yeah, no, because and then it's better for you than bread, in the way of that type of calories, and Arnold knew way back then, so kind of cool. And I'm back working out again, being healthy. Got to do that.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So at what point, you know, you went from working on radio to working in a cubicle to
going back,
getting in front of the camera?
Yeah.
You know, how was that transition? Because you hear that you know, term, you have a voice for radio. Well, you had to have also had a face for TV.
Oh, and I've been accused. They're like, Chuck, we've done some research, and your ears are too big and you scare people in Northeast El Paso. And I'm like, little kids are afraid of watching. No, but they.
Who's that big?
Yeah, and that was all made up by jealous management and people who didn't know TV. I went through 18 news directors and 7 general managers in 23 years and 4 months at Channel 9. that should tell you how tumultuous and or toxic Channel 9 was. But with all that, I wanted to be on TV, so I went and got the meteorology degree. Figured you should know what you're talking about.
Right.
You know, just like I see you've researched me, and some of the facts he found out about me are kind of scary. I don't know where he found them. But
I have your social. Right here. We need to verify your.
Yeah. And the thing is, you got to go after what you want. So practice, but perfect practice makes perfect. You can practice all the time, but if you don't put your mind into it and watch people who are successful doing it, don't watch your local weather person too much or whatever. Watch people in LA, watch people in New York, Chicago, because those are the people you want to emulate, right? And whatever you do, watch the best and pick up on little habits. So I would record other markets. It was tougher back then. I would actually order tapes because the internet wasn't quite then.
Too,
yeah,
right?
yeah. I would order tapes in other markets and watch other people. But then I would record the local guy, and I would record him when he was on a live shot, because then he wasn't in front of the graphics.
There's no teleprompter.
And
well, there is still a teleprompter.
Yeah, there's teleprompter, but in weather it's all ad-lib. So at home, I would play the VHS. Back then, you remember the tape?
I do.
Okay. And so VHS recording of the weather guy, I would stand in front of my TV in Pueblo, Colorado, in Lubbock, Texas, in Denver, Colorado, and practice. And I practiced. So then when I went into a TV station and they said, hey, get in front of the camera, we're going to record you. And they're like, in Lubbock, the main weather guy went and asked for a renegotiation on his contract because I was too good in my audition, and he thought I was being brought in to get his job. I'm like, no, I just want my first job. Because I'm making more money at Chili's, which I ended up, than my first job. $8 an hour, Lubbock, Texas, NBC. And I love KCBD, and still the same news anchor team for like 48 years.
Wow.
Karen McKay and Abner Uresti, he goes by, and for a Latino to last 48 years in Lubbock, that's saying a lot. Because you know, I encountered my first racist people ever.
I've heard.
I've heard. Now it's balanced out, but back 24 years ago, they were like, "Oh, I'm so glad you're not black or Mexican." And I'm like, "I'm so glad I'm not renting this place." You know, I'm like, "What does that have to do?" Or I would speak to the Lions Club in Muleshoe, Texas, and they're like, "Oh, you work on that station with that colored boy," and I'm like,
wow.
"What color is that?" Like, you know, I grew up in Denver where I didn't say my black friend James, my Mexican friend Ron Villa.
Right.
I said James and Ron.
Yeah.
And so that kind of shocked me.
Yeah, and it's shocking that.
And I love Lubbock, by the way. A lot of nice people there, but
yeah, and I think that's kind of that type of, you know, mindset is kind of decreasing. I think it's definitely going down. A lot of people are becoming a little bit more open-minded.
Diversity and acceptance is I mean, don't judge a person until they prove themselves mean to you, and that's about it. And then if they're mean, as my grandma Debroder, who was pretty mellow, says, my dad quotes it, there's nice people and then there's some not so nice people in the world, and that's all there is. And you want to hang out more with the nice people.
The nice people. You get to choose your circle, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you did some years out in Lubbock. You were working for NBC?
NBC Lubbock, $8 an hour, and I had to work at Chili's.
Chili's part-time.
Yeah, no, because I drove down to Lubbock, and my girlfriend at the time got a $10,000 signing bonus from the hospital, and she was a graduating nurse. I'm like, great. And I'm like, 10 grand. And then they're like, hey, we're going to pay you $8 an hour. I'm like, oh. So at first I went to Lubbock, and the news director says, oh, this is my last day.
Right.
I had been working at Chili's, and so I got a job at Chili's in Lubbock, auditioned at the ABC, CBS, then I drove around, auditioned, and finally the same NBC that was going to hire me hired me. Diane Dotson, thank you for hiring me.
Diane.
And she she liked my style, liked my sense of humor, and I did weekend weather, and I filled in for mornings and nighttime, and I did Chili's, and I was about half the weight I am now because you know I ate one meal a day.
Yeah, you didn't have time
working, you know, and so finally El Paso called me and said, "How would you like 2.5 times your salary to move to El Paso and work one job instead of two?" And I said, "Always loved El Paso," and hopped in the car and came here, and they didn't tell me I had to do mornings and weekends, and there was only a weather person. But you know, TV now, I guess it always has been a little bit abusive work-wise, but they really, you know, to be on TV, people say, "Oh, that's easy," but sometimes they make you work until 11:30 at night, and then you got to get up at 2 and work a morning show.
Yeah.
And you're a zombie. And
that's why you guys need the makeup.
Oh yeah,
right?
no, I'm not wearing it tonight. I'm like, hey, should I wear makeup?
We should. Hopefully, we're at a point where we have a makeup crew.
Well, you got a great camera, great skillful production person here. So
yeah.
You know, and the lighting is making me look 10 years younger.
Hopefully, me too.
Yeah, and so Lubbock taught me a lot. Everything you do in life teaches you a lot.
Definitely.
But I fell in love with El Paso. I grew up around Little Chihuahua, Little Juarez, and Denver off of Federal, which now has been gentrified so much. The people that I used to hang out with there couldn't even afford to eat on a restaurant on the street. Yeah. The average cost of a house in Denver is $500,000 for a fixer-upper.
Yeah, that sounds like Miami. That's why I came back.
And Boulder's $1 million average cost.
Yeah.
Boulder's
but that market alone has been increasing just over the last 4 years because of the new laws that they passed. A lot of people are moving.
No, and I invented a word, and I've said it before, but marijuanification is of Colorado. The traffic, you have to ride the light rail or the buses. It's like SoCal. It's like in San Diego or LA on the highways. In Denver, a lot of times during the day. So unless you want to, you know, unless you're listening to language tapes, learning a new language, or or watching YouTube or whatever while you're driving, you spend most of your life in your car.
Really?
So my parents are always like, "Move back." I said, "Mom, Dad, I would have to live in your basement," and you know, and
right,
you know, and then
it's crazy how affordable I think El Paso is. It's just, we were talking a little bit about the market out here, and
you're in real estate. You see the Californians coming here and they freak out.
Yeah.
And people are like, "Really? That's all?"
They're buying houses right now for what a down payment would be for a house over there. You know, they're buying it cash over here.
I can't believe I saw a brand new F-Series Ford truck for $100,000. I'm like, I would have to live in that, and I'd have to shower at the Y.
For the foldable mattress.
And the Starbucks is like, here's Chuck using our restroom again. You know,
Chuck's back.
Chuck's back.
Give him some hot water.
But I mean, I love El Paso for the cost of living. Then it makes us a little cheap too. When we travel, we're like, damn.
Yeah, right. When you go, especially when you go out and get a $20 Michelob Ultra.
Oh yeah, yeah. You're like, oh, what? $20?
Never mind, I'm good.
Yeah, that's right. A water.
To the liquor store.
And then they have water surcharges. I talked to somebody who went to the Raiders game. I guess it was in Phoenix or whatever, or it might have even been in Oakland. But a bar near the stadium, $15 cover just to go in and drink a beer or whatever. I'm like, well, no, sorry. Yeah, I'll go farther away. And,
right. Thank God for El Paso, right? With our $2 you call it. All the fun specials.
Yeah, and I talk about it all the time. We're the highest Bud Light consuming city per capita in the nation, and yeah, we drink quite a bit here.
Yeah, there's a lot of parties. We celebrate a lot for a lot of reasons.
But you know, there's big families, quinceañeras, birthdays,
birthdays, and I think overall nightlife in general out here in El Paso is just.
And I love the culture, but you have Tio with like a 20-pack comes in, and then you have Abuelita with a 30-pack saying, "Mijo, help me."
Yeah,
you know,
everybody's being there.
Yeah, and so, but best Mexican food in the whole nation, right here. Phoenix, forget it.
Yeah, you can't get it anywhere else.
Albuquerque, sorry.
Albuquerque.
I call it, but for many
Even
reasons.
San Antonio too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Mex over there.
Tex, they throw rice into everything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is this? Are you like testing a new menu for Taco Bell or what?
Right.
But
cheese and rice on everything.
A rice chalupa inside a burrito chili relleno. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, Taco Bell's getting
And then northern New Mexico, they're not Mexican. They're Indian and Spanish. Okay?
Right.
Because they'll be chingazos coming your way.
Yeah.
If you say, but they blue corn on everything. Blue corn. And I love blue corn.
Out here in New Mexico?
Yeah, northern New Mexico. Blue corn tortillas, Santa Fe.
Yeah, Santa Fe's awesome.
Oh, and I love Santa Fe. La Tomasitas. With the sun.
Yeah. So when you got to El Paso, did you know Spanish, or is that something you had to pick up along the way?
I knew a few of the bad things, and you know, I flow. I've got angry bilingual flow now going on.
You're good at that.
But yeah, I learned more now, and I'm in Juarez. But my grammar's not there. I speak German and English, and the grammar's different. And a Latin-based language, U.S. schools need to go back and teach Latin. But the reason they don't, the lawyers and doctors don't want us to know what they're talking about with the Latin words. But they need to teach.
Yeah, because that's all legal.
I know, it's all legal, and they're messing with your body and your mind and how much they're going to charge you. And so Latin-based romantic languages are similar. So if you know Spanish, it's easier to learn Italian and French, right? What's the other romantic language? Is there, I don't know. Those three, for sure. And so it really would benefit me. But I just have to sit down and just savasque, you know, and throw in words. You know,
take your time.
You know, take my time. And I have people in Juarez that will, they see me, shock, Canal de Noticias Nueve, El Clima. And they talk to me, and I'm like, I'm like, por la noche, parcialmente nublado y con vientos ligeros, un poquito frío. But
you get your
I got the weather down. But then they're talking about other stuff, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, you get the weather Spanish. That's all you really need, then, I guess. So talk to me about that experience with News Channel 9. You were obviously, you know, with them for a long time. Your name obviously did, you know, get out there, and your brand, I would say, your name really got known because of that news station. So talk to me a little bit about the experience.
Yeah, you know, I went through a lot of bosses, and I lasted through all except for September 12th, was it? They fired me over the phone, which was pretty wimpy, after 23 years, 4 months. But I love weather. I love doing it, and that's why I'm still posting it. You're going to see video of me doing weather here in the next week, maybe, or so. My agent, my better half, my wife here, Rosario. She's over here. But,
so
they're going to, the camera's going to pan.
We're going to pan the camera.
Yeah. And
we're taking it off.
You know,
Rosario
just like
here.
Any Latina fuerte, she gets more than half.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
And I still have dos huevos. Gracias a Dios. Maybe.
So talk to me about your partnership. What do you guys do? How do you guys help each other? I know as far as the graphic designs and all that stuff too, right?
Yeah, I design all the graphics. I tell him what to do, how going, and most of all encourage to go.
That's awesome.
Yeah, to make goals and to, you know, get up and get things done. And now Facebook today was hacked internationally. Did you know that?
No.
And they had all kinds of problems posting. It took forever. Then now I have 3 Juarez forecasts, and I have other forecasts because it had problems. I think it was hacked, but Facebook said there were problems nationally. But I post Instagram. I love Instagram because it's instant. Facebook is a mafia. They hold you hostage. They want you to throw money at them.
Yeah, there's some ads, right?
Yeah.
They're
so
like,
then
we're not
you
going to let
expose
nobody
it.
see until
Yeah,
you
yeah.
pay us
And
some
you're
money.
in real estate, so you're like, I want people, and then it says 15 people have seen this. I'm like, what? And then they're like, but if you pay us money, maybe
then,
60 will see it.
Yeah, yeah. I've actually been heavy on social media ads and things. So I've definitely seen my marketing budget going a lot more towards Instagram and Facebook. It's definitely working for me, so I could imagine kind of rebuilding your brand, right, on social media is what you're kind of doing.
Yeah, and the thing is, they did surveys and they didn't like it. Some of the managers would rip off my name off of a old school photo where we used to autograph and take it around the home show and say, who's this? And people would say, Chuck Debroder. And they were amazed that everybody knew. Well, I have like a 96 to 98% full name recognition. It's called a Q rating. And they're amazed. And they all wanted to get rid of me for some reason. Because I wasn't like ultimate GQ, perfect. I wasn't, but I'm myself. And people remember personalities. People watch or listen for personalities. You have a personality. That's why you have the following on what, 13 formats now?
Yeah,
across our blog, video blog nation.
Yeah, our bloggers and our
and
video
that's where
watchers.
the eyes are leaving TV. The broadcast networks are bleeding viewers. I read that quote from TV Newsday the other day. Football ratings are up. If you have a football game, that's great. Or what is it? The Ninja? American Ninja. Oh, I'm addicted to that.
Me too.
Yeah,
I like that.
And then you're like, damn, I wanted to make it. Come on. If you haven't watched it, it's a great obstacle course. And,
I think it's been around for so many years. It's just been called different things along the way, but it's so funny because you got to see pretty bad wipeouts sometimes.
Oh yeah, and then it was kind of taken from a Japanese show.
Yes, that's the one.
Which I was watching, and they had like spinning like wheels that you had to jump the log arms, or else you ended up in like, it wasn't like a swimming pool. It was like a nasty pond with killer carp that might suck your arm off or whatever. But yeah, it just. So broadcast is not really where people are watching. They're watching Netflix. The series on Netflix and Amazon and YouTube, they're getting stars, name stars with great writers, and you can watch it at any time. You don't have to watch at 7 o'clock.
You don't have to go to the gas station and rent it out with DVD either, you know.
Or somebody outside the gas station that used to go, psst, psst, yeah, I got some DVDs here. Yeah.
It'll make that movie funner.
Yeah. And so now that's all changed, and TV has changed and hasn't modified with it, or it modified too slowly. And so now I'm taking advantage of that. And I see some of the networks, I put out a tease, and now I believe Channel 7 or something, Doppler Dave had some sort of, is it going to be a cold winter? Well, let me tell you, it's going to be a normal winter, which will be colder than the last 5 winters. And we'll actually see maybe 3-4 days of El Paso snow this year, because it's a weak El Nino, which means there's more humid air coming in. I'll tell you that. You don't have to watch a half-hour long
you heard
show.
it first.
But yeah, again, when you study weather, you study something you love, it's a passion. And again, I love the power of the mind. I love watching people. People would see me out and about. I love live music, from my Denver days. And people see me at a bar and they're like, Chuck. They always used to say, I always see you at Cincy. I'm like, okay, well, first, hold up. What does that say about you? You always see me. You're always out too, so don't be hating.
Why are you guys hating on Chuck?
Yeah, just because I'm on TV.
Let the man have some fun.
And then at 10:30 at night, they'd be saying, hey, are you going back and doing the weather? No, fool, I'm done. I'm here to chill, So, but I think El Paso respects me because I hang out anywhere. When I first got here, I went to Segundo Barrio before it was all chopped up and everything, and it was real Segundo. And I was only Pinchy Wedo at this party. And
Chuck was lost in the Segundo Barrio.
And,
He just got to El Paso, he didn't know where he was.
And then couple girls are like, are you on TV? You know, they wanted the Chuck Debroder college scholarship for 2 or 3 of their kids, but they were, no, I was cool. And they started ripping off wood off the neighbor's house to burn in their Insta fire pit because it was winter, and they're throwing it in.
They're taking off.
Yeah, they're taking
from the
pieces.
House?
Yeah, like parts of their shed and everything. They're burning in the backyard. I'm like, great. And this one guy, because I was wearing a tie, he's like, hey, he's a narc. He's a narc. I'm like, no, I'm a weatherman. I'm not a narc. And, but I fit in, and you know, I've been in situations where, you know, there's been Texas Rangers and Border Patrol, and they're all super cool, to where there's some gang members and you know, people in nefarious careers. Do I care what you do? No. Good, there's nice and not so nice people, like Grandma says, and there's good and bad people. As long as you're nice to me, I don't, you know, whatever you do, you do.
Yeah.
I mean, we all got to hustle in our own way to make money and to pay the bills. So
definitely.
There you go. And
well, that's awesome.
And that's why Basil Hayden's is sponsoring my next weather graphic. No.
Basil Hayden's and Topo Chico.
And Topo Chico.
Topo Chico actually follows the podcast.
Oh my God, when I was sick, and 6 years ago, thanks to this woman, she helped save my life, but I almost died. But when I was sick, I loved Topo Chico. I still do to this day.
I love it too. I drink it every day.
And people that come to El Paso, Brianna Pitts, a beautiful blonde, she's on a Boston TV station now. She was our main anchor at Channel 9. She fell in love with Topo Chico, and she has like cases that she searches the Boston area and stuff.
Well, because this stuff is from Mexico. Coke bought it, but it's produced from Mexico.
It got so popular. You know you're popular when Coke buys you.
When Coke buys anything, it's
when a big company buys.
Yeah. For sure, for sure. So let's talk a little bit more about your social media, because I think that's getting me super excited to see what kind of direction you're going. We talked a little about, you know, the turn of attention right now. It's going away from typical marketing, which was, you know, the bench ads, the TV commercials and things like that. Now it's all here on this little device here. You know, attention is all here. I could tell you for sure, my business alone, my real estate business, 90% of it is powered by social media, by Instagram and Facebook.
And you got to hire Chuck Debroder to do your 10-second ad right here.
Yes.
There we go.
We're gonna get him. Oh.
Yeah, right there.
Hold on.
No, but it's 10 seconds, 15 max attention span, right? On social media. If it's like 17, 18, you're like, damn, this commercial's long. I mean, that's how technology has changed us. But in the same aspect, it gets us to the point. Yeah. Right.
I actually think that may have changed in literally the last year or so.
Yeah.
It's probably about 4 to 5 seconds.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, it's scary, but you really have to come quick and to the point.
And don't make me sad, because I'm a talking animal.
And how does it feel? You know,
4 seconds. I'm like, I'm Chuck.
Hey, I'm Chuck, but
watch me.
It's crazy.
Topo Chico.
Yeah, you really have to cram in enough information in that 15-second gap, you know, for you to be, for you to have that punch.
Yeah.
You know.
I have actually a national beer company that's going to sponsor me here coming up, and I'm going to interview some people. I'm going to have you guys on too, and all the podcasters that have benefited me. I'm going to have you guys, and we'll pimp out your houses and whatever.
Yeah,
we'll take a tour.
Yeah, we'll do it.
But it really has come down to entertainment is by choice, and again, people watch this podcast for your personality. They watch for the content, and tomorrow I'll talk about it. Make sure my cameraman shows up on time there, Chris. But we're interviewing a director from El Paso that's in Vegas now that produces horror movies and like sci-fi horror and everything. Joe Lujan. Do you know Joe?
Yes. So let me tell you a funny story now that you bring up Joe. This was probably about 6 years ago. I used to rap.
Oh yeah.
I used to do music.
So you're a fellow rapper?
Yes sir. Okay. Yes sir. I used to do music here in El Paso, and one of my first music videos, it was called As You Are. It was on 104.3 and that. He directed the video for us and he helped us produce it, and he had the crew come with the makeup, and I was like, what the hell, you know? But it was super official. It was really cool. Joe's a super creative guy.
Yeah, and I'm interested because I want people to know about the successful people that come from El Paso.
Definitely.
That don't let the biggest small town in America mentality keep them down, that they can actually make it and go after their dreams
100%.
And not listen to their TO or listen to someone that says, oh, you need to get a warehouse job or whatever. No, do what you love in life.
Right.
And eventually you get paid for it.
Yeah.
And it may take some eating a lot of top ramen and, you know, struggling.
Some grinding, right?
But yeah, you got to grind. And so I'm interested to talk to him, hoping he'll give me a part in one of his new movies. There's awesome. A new one. He's going to actually come back and shoot in El Paso, which is cool. And then I was in Crystal Poppin's video, a couple of Miss Poppin.
Diaz Jr. and Crystal.
Yeah, Diaz Jr. shot it, and that was all pro. And that was like a Canon Red, first time I've seen
they're doing, well, he's with, I forget the gentleman's name, but they have the whole crew. Danny,
Roger Argenis from
so they're official. They're doing music videos for Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre and they're the next level.
No, and they're cool people, and a shout out to them if they're watching. They had a party in the back of a U-Haul was their thing, and they made it look like everybody was just partying in this U-Haul out in the middle of nowhere.
This was part of the music video.
Yeah, and awesome. I was in that, and then I got into this movie called Plasma Sword, and the director, Carlos, from Mexico City, came in, and it was in a warehouse off of Texas I was supposed to go, and I wasn't given a script or anything, and I go in, and it's all official, like you said, like there's boom mics and professional people.
They get those.
I'm like, okay, and they're like, okay, you're in a cafe and everything, and there's just a table there, and it's like in the dark. I'm like, okay, but when you see the movie, it looks like you're in a cafe, you know?
Yeah, the whole setup.
Yeah, whole setup. But there's the boom mic, and I'm like, okay, where's my script? And they said, oh no, Chuck, it's all ad lib. I'm like, yes, because
this is what you're used to.
That's what I do for weather every day.
Yeah.
So I was an uncle mad at my nephew who made the external hard drive, made me millions, and then he got on this trip. He wanted to make a lightsaber, plasma sword. You can't say lightsaber because of Disney and George Lucas. They'll sue.
Oh, okay.
A legend lightsaber. It was a plasma sword.
Like
totally different. Totally different. Made from different crystals and everything.
Whole
different thing. So, and he basically bankrupted me, and it's me and my lawyer there. You gotta rent it. It's on Vimeo. It's $1.99. It's
really?
28 minutes. Filmed all here in El Paso.
He's done some cool short films.
Oh yeah,
some really cool short films.
Austin Savage is in it, and
really,
he's my nephew, and basically he turned homeless. But it's a movie of hope. 28 minutes, and
awesome.
So
short and sweet.
So I started seeing all this stuff happening in the last couple of years, and I was a part of it. I wasn't under contract from Channel 9, and I shouldn't have been when I left. But oh well. They can't keep me from being me.
Right.
And they don't own my personality. I gave them ratings for my personality. I had former general managers who would have me show up at car dealerships, furniture stores, charge $1,000 Chuck Debroder appearance fee, and not even tell me, make me drive my own car and pocket the $1,000. And
really?
and once I found that, I'm like, this is bullshit. Because they said, well, I have one GM say, we made Chuck Debroder. I go, no, my mom and dad made me on a cold winter night in Loveland, Colorado ski resort, and my dad was actually going after my mom's friend and hooked up with my mom, okay? And I happened.
They made...
And I'm not angry. No, but they're like, oh, we made Chuck Debroder.
Really?
Okay, yeah, they gave me a platform which people could see me. But if I sucked, they wouldn't watch
the market doesn't lie.
No.
If you're good, you're good. If you're not, you suck. You know.
Yeah.
For you to be in this business for that long, you could definitely see that El Paso has taken you in. And I personally can tell you that I've seen you out, and for me, what it tells me is that not only do you have a platform, but like we were talking a little bit before this, you're really connecting with the city. You're being a part of the city and everything that the city has to offer. You're there, and you're literally living the culture that we're living.
You know, I haven't been on since September. I'm still taking pictures in Juarez and here. And you know, some people say I watch every night. I don't explain that I'm not on or anything. All they want to know is they want you to acknowledge them, and that's cool. And I've seen TV people in the past, especially when I moved here. There was a weather guy. My mom and dad were by me on my God, what was I driving? A 76 Ford Granada when I came here.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, you know, it had a 351 Cleveland engine, but with a 302 transmission. So you jam on it, you're grinding up the transmission. I went through like 10 transmissions.
Really?
The transmission guy's like, hey Chuck, I'll give you a discount. You know,
you're our best customer.
Yeah, you're our best customer. And my parents are buying me new tires, and the weather guy's there, and I said, hey Mom and Dad, this is the chief meteorologist on the other station. He looked at me, looked at my parents, and went, and walked off. I'm like, you know,
really?
And now we'd say, pinche pendejo, you know?
Yeah,
can you say that on this?
Yeah, you can say anything you want.
All right. I don't know what that means.
You can throw your arsenal.
I really don't know what that means. But no, you're like, why do you go out of your way to be... People just want to be acknowledged. That's it. And so I take a picture with everybody. Now, what they do with that picture, sometimes, you know, or whatever.
Out of your control.
You know, I end up in Snapchat and they Photoshop me in, you know.
The flames behind you.
Yeah. But no, I don't turn down anybody. And so a lot of people are sad I'm not on every night. But in the same aspect, I think it'll be better just because media has changed, and that's why I'm here. That's why I'm supporting all the video podcasts.
That's awesome.
Because
you are.
This is where people are watching, and
especially El Pasoans. You know, there's a lot of El Pasoans that I think, you know, like we talked about. You have built a name here in the city. You are a part of the city. You know, when they think Chuck Debroder, they think weatherman. When they think weather, they think Chuck Debroder. So for you to still stay connected to the city like this and still keep doing what you love, you know, on social media, I think that says a lot.
And I think people are afraid, I'm like at Channel 9 to kind of, and the management kind of hate because they know that's me. Right. And they know they're really not going to stop that. And they probably know that it was a bit of a mistake. I know a lot of viewers and a lot of people who post and you know, they'll post their 9-day forecast and they'll say, "Oh, too late! Already saw Chuck's." They post in the comments, you know.
Late on that.
And I'm doing 7 days because you know you go much more past a week, and it goes down to 30-year climatology averages.
Right.
And so our average high for today is 65. I hit the low yesterday, 36. It was 66. Hit the low and high. Hit the low this morning, 38, and I believe I hit the high today, 65 on the dot.
So for most people like myself that didn't know this, you're not reading a script when you're telling the weather. You're actually doing your own research and you're predicting the weather.
Yeah, I said earlier off camera, you know, and like in Corriente Cuatro and Juarez, they wanted me to train the Clima Chicas with dos frente frios coming your way. And I'm like, you know, they wanted me to do all their graphics, all their forecasting, teach them weather.
Really?
You know, Cerro is freezing. You know, frente frios are not these. They're actually cold air,
cold front,
just coming down from the north. And so, yeah, a lot of people will just be weather reporters, and they're great, and they're friends of mine, and they take the weather service and they do what they do. I actually suffered through a second degree. Suffered meaning I'm not a math mind. I drove my math tutor into the state mental hospital for tutoring me in Calculus 3, Physics 3.
Really?
Statistics, a course that incorporates all that plus weather. And so everything's based on math. Everything's numbers. We learned that from the Matrix and way back when, old school reference. But we're in, you know, chaos theory of math, flap of the butterfly's wings, that's based on weather. So you get through the math part, and then you're in an area like I've been for 23 plus years, you start to learn the climate. I knew the cold front this afternoon was going to gust up the winds on the west side, but really not cool us down, kind of like on Sunday. So I went with the same high as Sunday, and we're, you know,
we're there.
We're there, right there. Boy, time's flying, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
This is insane, though,
Yeah.
that you can actually predict the weather, and you're able to tell. You're kind of in tune right now with the weather.
Yeah.
So, you know, talking a little bit about your career and you know, taking this new approach, what is next for Chuck Debroder?
Well, you know, for 14 years I've been helping people with hypnotherapy too. That's my second passion. And I help people stop smoking, lose weight, get rid of phobias. Anxiety is a big issue. Because, man, if you watch the news for 5 minutes, you're like, you're going in a corner and you're crying.
Even scrolling through Facebook.
Oh, I'm like,
right?
what the heck? And fake news or not, you know. And so what you have to realize, we can only control ourselves. And we can change our state. We don't need drugs. We don't need alcohol. Maybe Basil Hayden's whiskey, a little bit, but not much. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm sure it's excellent.
Yeah, very oaky.
Oaky.
That's my thing.
It's all about the aging.
Yeah.
But you don't need that to change your state. Tony Robbins, who was a motivational guy, he's one of the biggest in the world. But I followed him before he was really well known. He was out of Canada, hypnotist. He would stop people from smoking, help people, and people would come in and like, Tony, I'm depressed, and their shoulders would be down, their breathing shallow, looking down. He's like, okay, sit up like you're happy. Okay, put your shoulders back like you're happy. Breathe like you're happy. Think happy thoughts. How do you feel now? They're like, oh, I don't feel that depressed. I feel happy. Oh, it's magic. No, that's how easy it is to change your state. And with hypnosis, with even yoga, which drops you into a hypnotic state, meditation,
right.
We all need to take some time out of the day and just mentally change our state and say, you know what, I don't need to be pissed off, I don't need to be depressed, I don't need alcohol, drugs, or whatever. You know, may do that for recreation, but I don't need to do that for changing my state.
Yeah.
Okay, so I love that. So I'm doing hypnotherapy, helping people out. Get a hold of me, Facebook, Twitter. Facebook, Chuck Debroder, Certified Meteorologist. Twitter, Chuck Debroder. And Instagram, WXChuck. And I love Instagram because it's instant. We were talking, Facebook holds you hostage.
Yeah.
You gotta pay them money.
You gotta pay a little bit of money.
And, but so I'm doing that, and then I'm doing the next week, we're shooting for next week. You'll start seeing a video forecast like you did on TV of me in front of some graphics.
Excited.
And we're still posting the graphics twice a day. In fact, I've got my little homework right here of doing the numbers, and I crunch the numbers. I'm more accurate than I was on Channel 9 because Channel 9 wanted you to dedicate as much or more to social media than you did to TV, but they didn't want you to suck on TV. So you really had to dedicate more to TV.
Right.
That's your main job. But now I get up at 7 in the morning, and all the numbers I crunched the night before, she gets up and reposts all the graphic redesigns. She talked about the Mexican Revolution today,
right,
and made a graphic, and Viva Mexico. There we go. We need some
Viva Mexico.
Tequila. This I call Irish NyQuil. Jägermeister is German NyQuil.
Jaeger, I cannot do Jaeger.
And tequila is Mexican NyQuil.
Yeah,
because Jaeger, it's
crazy, huh?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's definitely crazy. Chuck, I'm super excited to see what you have coming, especially the videos.
And the interview show too coming up.
Yeah, and the interview show. So you got a whole bunch that you're.
And you guys are helping us because we need some tech advice.
Yeah, definitely. We got Sosa over here.
Yeah, okay.
The man behind the camera.
Good. We'll help. We'll buy you lunch and you know fill up your gas tank. That's all I can do.
So tell me a little bit more about that hypnotherapy. Are you doing private sessions for people?
I do. Yeah.
Really?
And
I'm interested in that because I've been on this meditating streak right now. I'm on 94 days.
Of
I've
meditation.
been posting it on social media because I'm using this app. 10 minutes a day is all I'm doing. But I've literally seen my anxiety go down. Like I couldn't before. I couldn't even get on an airplane and not sit idle without having a panic attack. And now it's like I'll sleep through the flight, like comfortable. See, meditating helps.
Oh, it really. You know, we're all vibrating. This table's vibrating.
Yeah.
This bottle. I believe in quantum physics. And okay, when we're first dating, you know, a woman, no matter how nervous she is, her vibration is like this, right? And a guy who meets a beautiful woman, wants to meet her, our vibration is all over the place, right? So she's like, oh, he's kind of cute. And then she's like this and we're like this and something doesn't match up, and so she's like, oh, okay, no, he's kind of a creep.
Weird.
We're out. Okay, so the saying slow your roll really applies to quantum physics, because if you slow your vibration, which meditation does, and yoga and hypnotherapy, you match. And not only with other people, you match with yourself. You slow down your anxiety. You slow down your phobias that are all invented in our fantasy world.
Right.
We spend 86% of our day in our subconscious, our fantasy world, and then we have a bodyguard, a bouncer called the conscious mind. It's a garage door. In hypnotherapy, I raise the garage door. You're still going to remember everything pretty much. You're not going to say or do anything.
You don't have a different identity.
No, no, no. But what happens, I talk to the subconscious and say, hey, you're a smoker. Look at your black tar-filled lungs. Imagine chewing on 5 cigarettes and swallowing it. The taste. The smell of cigarettes on your jackets and everything. And I incorporate taste, feel, smell, sight, everything into that. So the next time they grab a cigarette, all that flashes in their mind. They're like, nah, I'm going to put it out.
That's
right?
insane.
So again, our conscious mind, our bodyguard says, oh, Chuck's a smoker, he needs to smoke. But if I can raise that up and tell the subconscious mind, tell the bodyguard to screw off, we're not a smoker anymore. Then he's like, oh, Chuck doesn't need to smoke anymore, he's not a smoker. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, everything is mind, right?
Yeah,
mind is the most
right now
powerful.
All 4 of us here, and then the studio audience, which is watching outside here.
Yeah.
All of us are perceiving this situation differently, and it's all perceived by our subconscious mind. So I have to thank Alex William Smith in England. He's my mentor, who goes by Jonathan Royal. In hypnosis and psychology. He boiled down Maslow's hierarchy of needs and all this stuff that you pay colleges tens of thousands of dollars to get a degree. And in psychology, you know it, if you're a major, you've got to get a master's, then a doctorate, then you'll make some money. Other than that, you're not going to make a lot of money. And all that is boiled down to just, we need to be loved, needed, cared for, appreciated. That's all we need.
We're human.
Yeah,
that's what humans.
We need those needs. And then from the age of birth until 7 years old now, everything's imprinted in our mind. So if there's some bad shit that happened in your household, it's imprinted in your mind, and then we
think about it or not.
Yeah, whether you think about it or not, and then we blame that for the rest of our lives. Move on. And the NLP, which is based on hypnosis, on Milton Erickson, Bandler and Grinder, who started it, and I went to a Bandler lecture at CU years ago, who started neuro-linguistic programming. But all that now is being used in the media when everybody says moving forward. And as we're moving forward, that means forget all your past. And actually it's a good 2 words, but they're hypnotic words
and
to
it has
get
a big effect.
Yeah, because forget all the, and now politicians and news people, everybody, losing sports coaches. Moving forward from our 15th loss, You know, and you forget everything else behind you. Oh, okay.
Just a reset button.
Yeah, it's a reset.
In your mind.
And really, that's what hypnosis is. It's like pushing a computer reset button. You reset, you're fresh, and you're vibrating at a smooth level.
That's insane. I know we actually are super. We have a lot of talks about that vibration frequency and things like that. And it's real. I mean, even on tests that I've seen that they do on water, you know, and testing the frequency with water and how it turns into shapes, really also tells as far as moods too, because we are water based.
Meteorology, we're in an ocean of air, and the air behaves exactly like water. We have an upper wave coming through tonight. There may be some cheepies, as we say around here. A little bit of sprinkles, a little bit of light rain overnight from this upper wave, but it's a wave, it's a ripple, like in water, coming through our atmosphere. And if I say an upper wave instead of an upper level trough, people are like, what, a pig trough? What is a trough? But if I say a wave, people understand a wave. Yeah. So you have to use some metaphors sometimes, and people
especially
understand.
For your audience, depending who's listening, right? What is your audience like right now on social media? You've been blasting, you know, a lot of content right now.
You were up over 10,100 on my professional Facebook. I've not been this high when I was at Channel 9. And please like the Instagram and Twitter are blowing up. We're looking at other formats too, just some like formats that aren't used that much but have dedicated audiences, like Pinterest and what else?
Pinterest and
Tumblr.
There's literally, this social media game is a living, breathing thing.
Somebody said Tinder, and I'm like, no, that's, you can't.
You might want to go on Grindr.
I don't know. No, but I'm out there. My Snapchat game's not there, but Snapchat's kind of gone down.
Yeah, I honestly think that a shift has gone a little bit more towards Instagram, because Instagram has a lot of things that Facebook incorporates, plus some. I think it's a little bit less noise too, because Facebook, you could literally go off and, you know, put whatever you want, especially text wise. But Instagram is picture, so it's very, very to the point. If you don't get attention right away.
I still do a paragraph of weather and for the nerds that want to read it, but but you know, the graphic is what is important.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So coming back a little bit to El Paso, obviously you have a huge passion for El Paso, and El Paso is definitely a city where you see yourself, you know, going forward. What is some of your favorite things about the city? Some things that you absolutely love about El Paso.
The people are real, and they're nice. You know, I've been in big cities. I've been robbed in Miami. I've been robbed in Jamaica.
My cousin got robbed visiting me for the first time in Miami.
Oh, I got off on the wrong exit, and you lived there. I got on the wrong exit, and it was before they stopped making rental cars look like rental cars. Remember that? And they were jacking everybody in a rental car. And I started busting out a little flow about this guy just a little rap about this guy jacking me. He had a gun to my head. What? My girlfriend thought I was crazy. He busted up crying, laughing so bad. He gave me directions back to the highway, and he said, keep that up, man, you might make some money.
Wait, like, you had a gun to your head?
Yeah, and I was the original Slim Shady back in the day.
Oh my God.
And my college was like Last Chance U. There's a series about athletes that unfortunately like to carry guns into nightclubs and do some stuff, so they go from NCAA Division I all the way down to Pueblo, Colorado. And we had badass football and basketball teams, but most of the guys were from Northern California, from Oakland, and a guy by the name of Spoonie Beach taught me how to flow. And so then I incorporated some bilingual rap towards the end. And I do that. I've done stand-up comedy a couple times here in El Paso, and I used to do it in Denver years ago. And there was a place called the Night Owl or something down here. It closed up down the street. But I came there, my friend Rick was manager, and Christy was a bartender, and I just went in there on a winter night, and they said, next up, Chuck Debroder. And I didn't add myself to a list or anything. And so all these new comics had notes and everything, and I just told stories about my life, and then some comic goes, I don't even want to follow Chuck, man. I've got all these notes and everything. And then Boomtown, which I still call Boomtown, but it's Neon Rose now, off of Wyoming. Sister bar of Monarch. And shout out to Alfred and Chief.
Monarch's awesome. I love their food.
And then Boomtown Jesus, which would make a great band name. Jesus, my friend, is the manager at the Living Room off of Piedras.
Okay.
Because now all the gentrification has gone up into the hood of Piedras.
I've seen it, but I love it. I love it.
And so the old Carter's Flowers, the lady is still putting out bouquets in the back in her house, but she gave Mike and Joe, Mike, he and his brother own all the Artavinos in town, and then Joe is also a co-owner, and they've given me a lot of love, let me shoot some videos there, and I do hypnotherapy there before they open.
Really?
In their side, like, little eating room of there, because they've got some great food there too.
Really?
Mainly appetizers, but you know, sandwich, paninis and other stuff, but really good food.
Some good food.
There's
a lot of that here in El Paso.
Yeah. And now that I don't have a job, if you could give me some free food, send it to Chuck Debroder, Charity Fund, Feed Chuck, please.
We're gonna put a link here.
I need to start a GoFundMe for.
Why don't we, Chuck?
And people think that I made a lot of money. They're like, dude, and I still have people that want me to contribute to their stuff and everything. I'm like, I'm contributing to my mortgage and my car payment right now, and to eat. And if it wasn't for my wife supporting, I would be, you know, hey, is that, you know, I joke that, you know, I'm working a double shift now at the Red Parrot. I only strip for the strippers, and I wear a Lucha Libre mask. So I have a lot of 1s and 5s right now, so if you need change. But
that's good. That's how you're taking it to the bank for the mortgage.
I had $2 bills out there. Yeah.
That's funny.
How I know, I don't know. Bachelor party years ago.
Yeah, long time ago. So, Chuck, favorite part of El Paso, obviously the people. People are great here.
The food, the best. Oh, and the scenery, a mountain in the middle of the city. People are shocked about that.
I love that you could be on the highway or in a lot of streets, especially on the east side, and get a scenic view.
Oh yeah.
Of Ciudad Juarez and the mountains, you know?
My book that's coming out, and it's been trademarked.
Wow.
It's called Living Ghetto on Rim Road. I lived on Rim Road for 15 years.
Wow.
And I paid for 6 years $450 rent, no lease, no damage deposit. They played water. It was the only house on Rim not fixed up, but I would walk out my house and see over as Total Juarez downtown, the mountain right there, and I could look in the backyard and see the entry to Crazy Cat, and I thought, how lucky. And when I grew up next to the mountains in the foothills of Denver, my parents' house looks at Red Rocks Amphitheater, the best outdoor concert venue in the world, but looks right there. And I never appreciated the mountains, and you grew up next to it. So I would force myself, and eventually, after 15 years, living there, went up to $600 a month for 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, living on Rim Road. It needed help. She went in there, and there were other creatures from the royal living in my house.
Been there longer than you guys.
You know, I feel like you know, the mouse family that was there. I was part of their family.
Hey, Chuck moved in. Chuck moved in with us.
Yeah, and so, but they were road runners and wildlife. And so now I'm living over there on the west side, but we've had a bobcat in our backyard, and we're not even high up on the hill. We've had, she's had a little raccoon until one day it was drinking some water out of the little thing that she has for the birds, and a hawk came, right, and took it away. But it's all about nature and survival of the fittest.
The circle of life. I'm actually a vegan, but that I respect. Cool.
It's life. Yeah,
yeah, that's cool. That sucks for the raccoon.
Oh, Lick It Up at Monarch.
Yes, I love them. Actually, right now after this, I'm gonna go. We had a podcast 2 weeks ago with Zona Mexican Grill here.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know if you've tried it yet. It's here in downtown. It's awesome. This food is so Mexican authentic, but it's vegan. They have chile verde, chile colorado, and they're having a big event. It's vegans at night, so they're having bunch of different Thanksgiving foods that are all vegan.
And that sounds funny. It's like vegans at night, because normally they're only out during the daytime.
Because we don't eat during the day.
But vegans at night, the Adobada quesadillas over at Lick It Up, unbelievable.
Yes.
And he's from Juarez, a street vendor.
I love it.
And he converted all his food to vegan. Now, have I talked about too many issues right now? And I said I was a talking animal. Is that fine?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
No, I think
But I love everything about El Paso.
Yeah.
And Juarez too.
Juarez is amazing.
Juan Gabriel, I go by his house. And, you know.
Really? Do you like to
and
go
now,
out there?
The song "No Tengo Dinero" really means a lot to me now. Because,
that's your jam right
Yeah,
now?
that's my jam. Because
We'll put that on the podcast snippet for sure. So where do you see, going forward, and we just laughed about that term, forgetting the past.
Yeah. Going forward.
Going forward. Where do you see El Paso in the next 10 years?
Oh, we won't recognize it.
Yeah.
But now it's the money, and it's the morditas, as they say. The bribes. We call it lobbying here. It's legal in the U.S. Here's the lobbying.
Yeah.
Please lobby Chuck Debroder.
Top golf.
And, I'll even be a lavadora. I'll clean up some money for you. Again, but it's a bilingual cast, and I'm just practicing. But, no. We will see this new skyscraper going up here like we don't.
Yes.
I mean, all of them are empty right now, but build another one. Yeah. Darn it, it'll make our...
People are going to come.
Yeah, people will come. People will come.
Yeah.
And, I love the culture, the art. Here, we have so many artists. Painting, drawing, musician-wise.
Yeah.
And that's what I want, and that's what you're doing.
Right.
You're interviewing the talent of El Paso,
definitely
getting them exposed, and that's what I want to do. It's just like people that have held on to their dreams and just went after it. And,
I'm a Lower Valley kid, still just trying to make it, But I think LV, it's all about the LV.
Yeah, and then they say, "Oh no, it's the Mission Valley." No, hell no, it's the Lower Valley.
Yeah, it's the Lower Valley. I know my girlfriend too. She's like, "That's not the Lower Valley." I was like, "That's the Lower Valley. It's called Lower Valley."
Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Just like my shoes aren't fake.
Right?
They're
not real.
No, I bought them downtown.
Okay.
Yeah, but they work. Yeah.
But yeah, I think, with this podcast, that's exactly what we've wanted to do, is really just shine light on people here in El Paso. I've mentioned this plenty of times on podcasts before, but I think that mentality 7 years ago, when El Paso was known for not buying tickets for events, to now has definitely shifted, and now I think the city's more supportive, especially of local. Everything local is definitely getting a lot more spotlight, and there's so many people doing big things.
What the heck? The Winterfest parade the other night reminded me of Denver.
Right.
The traffic, you couldn't move on the highway nowhere.
Everything was,
and then everybody was trying, and try means to fail with honor, to get downtown, to then not be able to see any of the parade because there was no place to stand. But I really love that.
Yeah.
But it also shows you how entertainment starved El Paso is.
Yes.
And we are growing so quickly, we need more entertainment. And not just 15 water parks. Okay, it's great, it's hot, we want to go, but we need some different variety.
Yeah, a little mix of everything, and I think you're starting to see it, especially with so many military that's coming here. You're getting a little taste of a lot of different cultures, which before was 99% Hispanic. Now you're seeing a little mix of a lot of things. You're even starting to see a lot of restaurants, Puerto Rican, Dominican restaurants. It's like, I'm feeling like I'm back in Miami. I'm getting all excited, But I'm really excited to see the direction El Paso is going. I think from the last 7 years, we've taken on this new approach, and we're headed towards being a big city here.
Yeah, and now we're going to have the traffic. We already do, and if you go west side, I mean...
I think we're going to have to deal with that for the next 10 years, too.
Just orange cones everywhere.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're like, they're not even working on the stretch.
Right, they start blocking off this I-10.
6 months early, and I'm like, well, okay, it's still...
Where are the workers?
Yeah. But I think once it gets going, I'm a little scared for the little, it looks like Hot Wheels track that goes over towards the Napra.
Yes, I see it.
Comes up, and I'm like, what if you get a flat tire on that? Is it going to back up, or But we took the new Paisano to the UTEP thing, and then now it goes downtown. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to go on I-10. You can branch off. Not many people know about it. They do now. But you go there and there's no one on it, and you're going. But once they get all the traffic going in different ways, it'll be better.
And even city development too, they're taking a whole different approach. One, with traffic, they're trying to incorporate a lot more access points, highways and things like that. But now even with new construction, before it was just, you know, houses, fill up as many houses as you can, and then don't worry about the flooding or anything like that. Now you have irrigation channels. You also have
some street drains, which I grew up with in Colorado, and then I moved to Lubbock, and they're like, no, we got a playa lake with all kinds of lawn chemicals, dog poop, and everything else just there in the lake, and it's a great mosquito breeding ground as well. But I'm like, wow, we had all the water go underground, and then it was reclaimed, and it was water that was used to water golf courses and other things, not for drinking. And so we're getting there. It in the past took us a long time. We're now speeding it up and seeing things.
I've seen it.
Now the Marriott took a long time, but it's beautiful. San Jacinto Plaza, to basically remodel and landscape a rich person's backyard for $6 million. It took longer than the Chihuahua Stadium. Yeah, it actually did.
But even all those things, you know, the San Jacinto, the Chihuahua Stadium, the new trolley that we got,
you know, it adds character. Yeah, you know, $117 million worth of character. And if you're a WADA student, you can go on there with Wi-Fi to UTEP and back. Yeah, and
easy access.
Like to see light rail. Go to East El Paso, back, West El Paso, back.
That would be awesome.
And when I become mayor, I'm going to make sure that light rail gets done. No.
Vote for Chuck.
Vote for Chuck. Because I'm on the real. I'll tell you like it is. I'm like, who are you getting bribed by? Because I need some of that money.
Would you ever really consider that? Getting
you know, I'd be an honest politician, which probably I wouldn't be liked by my fellow politicians. But maybe, you know, I would fix potholes. I would fix things that people bug. You know, and Domino's says that they're going to fix potholes, and I'm on the line so much they've actually blocked my number. But I'm like, you know, Domino's Pizza will fix potholes, and I want them to do it here in El Paso.
Really?
Now in Juarez they go broke, but and Juarez they just put 2 or 3 used pizzas in the pothole.
Put some pizza boxes.
There we go. But yeah, no, but I would do things that people need, infrastructure. You know, we're getting the roads. We'll probably outgrow these roads by the time they get done.
Sure.
But we need things for people that I think politicians say, you know, we've had current politicians say, oh, damn, we had to spend money on new police cars. Well, we don't have enough police for a city this size that are growing. We need to spend more money on stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
And we don't need to only show Northeast El Paso on PD Live,
PD
you know?
Live, yeah.
You know, but I mean, really, El Paso still one of the lowest crime rates in the nation.
Yeah, definitely.
Lowest cost of living, still one of the tops, and now the only thing is the property taxes. But we have to make sure the property taxes are going in the right direction.
Right, and which is beneficial. You know, it's always a you know, a pro and con for a homeowner dealing with property taxes. I mean, it sucks. You're gonna pay more. But at the same time, you're also keep in mind that your property value is going up too, which that's definitely the direction we want to go. It's different when property values start going down. That's when
just ask some of the Californians.
Yeah,
and, yeah,
especially with all these fires.
They have a $2 million home that's now worth, you know, $680,000. Right. And you're like, wow, and I still owe this amount of money.
I still owe $2 million. Yeah.
So, but property tax money that goes to where it should go.
Definitely.
And not into the FOP, I call it, friends of politicians. You know,
so the Christmas funds of some families.
Yeah.
I hear you. Well, Chuck, I'm super excited to see what you got going on next week and check out your videos, and also just see your growth on social media. I think that you are gonna be one, and I'm really, like, quote me on this, but you're gonna be one of these you know, individuals that are gonna change and disrupt a market that has been there for, you know, hundreds of years. You know, the Weather Channel and just news in general haven't taken that approach, because I think there's some stubbornness too on it. You know, sometimes people, there's cognitive dissonance. You just don't want to believe the facts, even though they're there in front of you. So I think taking on this approach, you're definitely going to disrupt this market. And I'm really excited to see that.
And you know, that's what I want to bring, positive change to weather, information distribution. People can get it when they want it and when they need it, and they don't have to wait around until 6 o'clock. They can get it on demand, and then
they could get it on the way
home. They'll eventually see Chuck if they want to see my big ears. Hopefully they won't, or my big nose. But you know, again, be yourself, go after what you want in your life, and do what you love, and that's what I'm doing. And I'm doing it in the place I love here in El Paso, in the borderland.
Texas. Well, we're all rooting for you. To end off the podcast, I always like to ask and, you know, get some feedback from you, even though we talked a little bit about some food. What are some of your favorite places in El Paso to eat, to hang out, you know, with the wife, and to celebrate? Maybe go out, have a drink.
Okay. All right. Well, mentioned couple. To eat, boy, La Madeleine over on the west side. Just had that. That's why it popped in my head. Mexican food wise, El Toro Bronco is good. You know, you get a Toreados, you get the Toro, you get the
Chuck's in El Paso. He's adopted.
But you want you know, Don Cuco is good, but their taquitos are taquito, you know. But they're a little small. But you know, I like the Wada style. The tripas have to be crispy, you know, boucher, you know, all that. I love all food.
Me too.
And what other restaurants we go to? Little Shack. Little Shack. Yeah. Oh my gosh! Shout out to the camarones, the shrimp, and
there's
everything
salsa. There's salsa.
But then you start eating it, and your tongue's burnt, and then you eat your fish taco, and your tongue's on fire. But it's good.
You can't stop. That's a good sauce when you can't stop eating.
Yeah, you're like, damn this.
You're sweating, and you're just like.
Yeah. Oh, and Lapa Lapa, which is like a little shack off of Red Road on the west side. Steve-O's on the east side, good eating.
Yeah.
East side is blowing up. It's like a whole other city. Much love to the east side. Here we go.
East side of El Paso. Make sure you guys are all following Chuck.
Yeah.
What about to hang out? Where do you guys hang out?
Well, I was hanging out in Monarch, Boomtown, and living room is a hangout. My buddy at Aviators.
Super fun.
Albert. And then Kelly with all the beach bar, beach house. Kelly, who owns that. Coconuts in the LV, Lower Valley. Coconuts Wing Shack down there. Shout out. Who else am I missing on some of the bars and restaurants? Rico at Dewey's. Gosh, all these people that I like to support local businesses and local people that do it big. You can go to the Twin Peaks and all that and get a corporate price for a corporate beer and you know.
We could go local.
Yeah. You know, and it's close to 29 degrees. You know, and
not too far off.
Right? Tecates, Lone Stars, PBRs. As long as you can get them cold, they're all right.
Yeah.
If they're warm, you get a hangover halfway through.
Just the taste gives you a hangover.
No.
What about to celebrate? Go out. You know, the big. Maybe a big club. We mentioned some bars, but is there
clubs?
Any big clubs that you like to?
I went out to Born and Raised, and boy, those people know.
Born and Raised are fun.
They can put it back there, and the owners that later.
You did a commercial
little promo for
brunch,
the brunch,
right? Yeah, the brunch is insane.
Yeah, they had semi trucks of liquor pull up there, and I didn't make the brunch. I was there the night before.
Oh, okay.
From what I heard, it was one of their most successful. You know, I like Blackbird. You know, it was one of the originals, opened up before the stadium, and the Poe twins, that the ZZ Top beard twins. But for clubs, man, I used to hang out 101 back in the day, and many reincarnations of 101. The 3 locations, 1, 2, 3, 4 actually, when it was sold downtown.
Okay.
And Panache, and then you know, like we were talking off camera, people were like, Chuck, dude, always see you at Cincy, you know, back in the day when I was single. I was like, okay, first hold up, what does that say about you? If you always see me, you're out. But there was the Loft, Now they painted a weird mural.
Yeah,
it looks cool, but it doesn't.
They're starting to
fit.
do some different things out in Cincy. They're bringing it back, definitely.
Yeah. The Faded Barber, Mike Armstrong is a mentor, business-wise, friend of mine. Almost forgot to mention him, but you know, he ran the Monkey, Barfly, you know, back in, you know,
the big ones, yeah.
Dickie
Williams, we're hopefully gonna get him on here soon.
College Dropout, Ditsy Duck,
he owns everything.
Whiskey Disc,
El Paso nightlife, it's insane.
I went to the country bar twice. I saw one like pop band from California rock that played at Whiskey Dick's. Then I saw Johnny Lee, who looking for love in all the wrong places. Went out there, but I've known Dickie for years.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's smart.
And I got to thank my sponsors, Poe Toyota and Drive Auto Collision, for my graphics. If you'd like to sponsor a Chuck Debroder graphic, just hit me up and we'll work out a deal. But
my next question to you is, how can El Paso help you, you know, on your next endeavor? What can we do as a city to you know, help support
my sponsors and support my pages? Like it, tell our family to like my pages. We have a new YouTube Chuck Debroder channel, soon to have a website where you'll see some writing from Chuck about certain things. How does winter weather affect pigs is one of them. And animals, actually, animals. All kinds of stuff. Mosquitoes that last through the winter, especially here. Weird things that are weather related. Cool. But no, I get to sleep more soundly now. There's almost like a weight lifted off of me. TV is a different kind of stress, and you're making a lot of money for other people that are giving you a little bit of it. Right. And so when you work for yourself, you got to hustle to, you know.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm an independent contractor, so.
And for real estate, you need to go
right over here to Manny Carrera. Follow me at Carrera_homes if you guys aren't already, which you should be. And make sure to follow Manny Carrera Homes on YouTube. Also, Whiskey Wednesday podcast session on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, the whole 9 yards. We're on 13 different platforms.
And if you buy a home during the month of December, you'll get a Chuck Debroder and Manny Carrera housewarming gift.
There you go. You're going to get your weather forecast for
I'll do a weather forecast live from your living room if you buy a house from Manny.
You heard it first here. Chuck, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Yeah, Topo Chico. Get out Chuck Debroder here. And make sure you guys are tuning in every single Wednesday where we're going to have influencers, entrepreneurs, movers, and shakers just like Chuck Debroder here.
Thank you, Manny.
Thank you again. Appreciate you. We'll see you guys soon.